Welcome to Talks on Tuesdays. I'm Mary Chase, and I'm joined by my dear friends Barbara Solomon, Julie Stone, and Chelsea Richins. Hi, Renee, Christine, Gordy, and Louis Therese. Oh my gosh, here we are again. If you're joining us on Zoom, we're so happy to see you here. And if you're joining us on YouTube, have fun. We're happy to talk to you. Today, I thought since I'm freezing my tail off in the morning when I walk the dog, I started thinking about winter holidays. And when I did a search about winter holidays, I came up with a lot. There's Diwali, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, St. Nicholas Day, St. Lucia, winter solstice and Yule, Christmas, St. Stephen's Day, Boxing Day, Omisoka, which I didn't know about, which is Japanese, Kwanzaa. And if you go beyond religion and, step back to the roots of these celebrations, I think there's something kind of primal and visceral almost about bringing in light and community and companionship, defeating the darkness of winter if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And I'm sure there are analogs to these in the Southern Hemisphere as well. What is this about? What is this human need that it arises across cultures? I know we can all talk about commercialism and religion, but let's leave that aside. What else is this? And that's my beginning for today.
And also, it's like there's something seasonal about it because we do it every year and we think, oh, in ways we have our celebrations and we get we're done with it. And then there's something about this time of year where I can't believe I get excited for the holidays again.
It's almost like an excuse for us to explore that deep knowing we have that we are all connected. And even though so often in day-to-day life we kind of forget about it, around the holidays, it's like everybody is so generous with their compassion and their patience and, just reaching out. And it's like a nice excuse to be able to do that.
It is, anthropologically, winter, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, was a dangerous time, particularly in the past where there was disease, there was famine, there were the elements that you weren't always able to protect yourself from. So there's certainly something dangerous about winter that these celebrations kind of coincide with.
Yeah. Subconsciously at a deeper level, we do recognize that we are all one and we are when in the winter months when we're not as easily able to get together and spend time with each other, we make that important. And I think it's on a subconscious level that we recognize that we are all one and need that connection more so in the wintertime.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just the party, that's one thing. But, if you want to drink, you can drink. If you want to eat, you can eat. What is it about this need for the community gathering and creation of a celebration despite everything? I don't know.
I think that, you can just look at the news every day, social media, all kinds of places where there's a lot of sadness, negativity, lots of stuff. And I think it's, we all long for, or people long for that special time where they can count that it's not going to interfere, that everything's going to be beautiful for that day or that month. And I can't wait for Christmas or Thanksgiving all that. And of course, that isn't always a guarantee because there still can have family arguments and all kinds of things can still happen. But yeah, I think, we say, oh, Christmas, just think of all those great things about Christmas. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Not knowing really, or not being aware often enough that we can do this every day of our life, every moment, you
Yeah.
know.
We can create Christmas in our hearts.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, you're right. When I was in especially elementary school, which I really hated. I hated going to school. I always told myself, if I can just get to Christmas, then
Mhm.
everything will be okay. And from then on, there's spring at the horizon, and I'm out of here. Oh,
Yes. I think in the summer months, it's a lot easier to connect with people because you're out. Most everybody's out. They want to be out in the sun and enjoy walks and hikes. And then you're out with nature too, and that helps. But in the wintertime, you don't get out too much because it's cold and windy. I mean, in Oregon, we've had a really nice fall so far, but it's not always like that. So it is nice to be able to know that you're going to be connecting with people eventually, and the holidays make it so that it's definitely guaranteed.
I'm sorry, Christine. I live in San Diego. What can I say? Not rubbing it in or anything.
yeah, right.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you're right. It's about community for sure. And it is harder to maintain community in some places during the winter than in others. But um, it's also to me the celebration. What is that? That is a lot of candles, a lot of sparkles, um, brilliant colors.
Yeah, bringing back that light.
Mhm.
Again, it gets dark early in many parts of the world during the winter, and bringing back that light. I think when I think of winter, I think of like the hibernation time for people to just go deep within themselves and do meditation and things like that, and then realizing again, longing for that connection of the oneness that we all are, and it's a good excuse to reach out and do that during that period.
This conversation reminds me of, did anybody here ever see, it's a PBS documentary. It's from years ago, but it's called Christmas in Yellowstone.
Oh, no.
And it's gorgeous. And like listening to all of you talk about the images like that, the images of that program just started coming into me. And I think it's just because of the extreme. And sometimes I feel like, maybe the holidays are a way of letting us know that no matter how extreme the darkness is, or the cold, or the pressure, that, we can be together, we can be one, and we can see it through. And it can be gorgeous.
Yeah.
I highly recommend on YouTube watching it. I think it's only an hour, but it is so cold. It's 60 below zero in Yosemite in winter. And it's these people, it's kind of centered on the Yosemite Lodge, and they just make it beautiful with the lights. And here they are in their own buffalo way, the bison do it their way. And then there's people doing it their way, which is using electricity and things, but still tapping into that being able to thrive in that season, and how beautiful it can be, and how it can put a smile on your face, and how it can be devastating also. Yeah, and I can relate to both.
Maybe it was to bring a glimmer of hope during those dark winter months way back when people would often not survive, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe a way to check in with each other too.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of acknowledging the yin and the yang, the cold and then the light from the fire or the lights that kind of counterbalance that.
This just reminds me, I was just thinking of that everything slows down, in that time, and allows people to go where they go, whether it's lighting candles, a big fire, or the fact that you have to stay in and not go out. This is, of course, people that have a real winter, not like California. but I mean, that we had our own way of celebrating there too. But just that things slow down, and you just can feel that you're slowing down. You don't have to be, outside and running. I don't know, just the slow down part came into my head. So,
Really, because so many people don't experience the holidays as a slow down time. They experience it
Right.
as something that's exhausting and they can't wait till it's over.
I guess I was thinking more like in the days that we were talking about where people
Yes,
didn't have a lot,
the way it
and
ought to,
huh?
the way
Yeah.
it kind of ought to be,
Yeah, and
slow down.
it kept them inside, and you were with your family or whoever, your neighbors, and it was that part slowed down, in the winter. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I think we must all carry some kind of primal memory of those times,
Hmm.
because certainly the way these holidays are practiced today is deadening, and busy and
Oh, yeah, right.
so- but there's that old memory I think we have of these times of community, light together, being in oneness, that remains with us somehow.
It's who we are. We can't deny it. Sometimes just being the busyness almost is like a way to try, I think, to forget it or disconnect from it. But when we sit quietly, do reconnective healing or meditate or just, go within and find that stillness that allows us to have that
Bring your awareness to that. Yeah.
It's
Unveil.
a great permission to be still, to take a look at life, to be with others.
Or not, if that's what feels right.
Or
Right.
not.
And if it's to not be with others, then it's going to be great someday when we are able to have that experience during the holidays and not like feel bad about it or whatever. I mean, I don't. Before I brought that up, as I was listening to you all sharing, and then also thinking back to the Christmas in Yellowstone, my heart and my mind are trying to put a different kind of juxtaposition. I know we're talking about the natural world juxtaposition, but there's another negative pressure that happens during the holidays, and that's that negative psychic stuff, the negative family stuff, the negative human stuff that happens during the holidays. I certainly experienced it when I was a kid, and so I kind of developed this idea that I would love to kind of see the holidays as they are really mutate, just really change somehow, and they will someday. But I'm starting to realize that the human negative pressure really isn't that different than the natural world's negative pressure, and we need both. So, and I'm just thinking about this out loud, so maybe we keep the holidays as they are. We receive the negativity as it is, and come on in, frequencies, just radically receive it, whatever it is. and then generate, you know, happy, joyous times in the presence of all of it. Yeah. Thank you for letting me articulate that. I've never done that before.
I wanted to share, and I think this may kind of have to do with or relate to what you just said. I have a girlfriend. She's single. I just spoke with her and I asked her about, did she do anything for Thanksgiving? And she told me that, well, she doesn't, you know, she's got family there where she lives in Atlanta. But she said, even if they were all there, she goes, I don't like turkey. I don't like a lot of people. I don't, and basically what it came down to, she says, I'm happy to stay home, you know?
Yeah.
So she took those negative things or whatever and made them okay for her, you know what I mean? And it was interesting because, you think, oh, somebody's by themselves and oh, isn't that sad? But maybe that's not sad. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm single, always have been, don't have a family. And since I haven't been employed in the big corporate America, which was always like my family and my holidays, and then I was totally cool to just kind of be on my own on the actual holidays. I want to share what my Thanksgiving was this year because it was really cool. One of the coolest I've ever had. I totally wasn't expecting it. I live in a triplex, and so my neighbor on the other side of the wall, she had a bunch of people over who don't have family and friends in town, and it was just this conglomeration of people from all over the world.
Wow.
And like there was some turkey, and there were all these ethnic dishes, and it was mostly like millennials and some Zoomers. I was pretty much the only, Generation X or above there. But a couple things happened, but one was one of the kids had just graduated from my alma mater in San Luis Obispo, California. And we had this great conversation about it and how it's going. And it just totally took me back. And the food was great. And then I went to see my horse and I came back and I ate more food. And when I came back, they had two people playing guitar and a little keyboard out back. And we had a sing along, and it was fun because there was no age. Like the first song we sang, and this wasn't my idea, but it's a song I love and one I needed to hear, was the Beach Boys, "Don't Worry, Baby." And we just sang it through, and we sang it 3 times because we were all singing together and we kind of wanted to hear it like sound pretty good. It's not easy to sing with a lot of people at the same time. And I don't know, I'm just glad I didn't break down in tears because it was just these people I didn't even know. So it was cool.
Don't worry, Baby should be a Christmas carol.
It is now, Mary. It is now.
and releasing expectations, it sounds like you just totally released expectations and look at what, it was just beautiful. It blossomed just so nicely for you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Christine. It looked like you're going to say something too.
No, I just think that's a great story. Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just tickled me.
And that's
and I wasn't even there.
but you felt drawn there, right? You felt like you were part of it, just hearing it. That's what these holidays are really all about, I think, that connection.
Yeah.
This is just a beautiful example. You just, it happened. Yeah.
All shall be well.
All shall be well. That's one of my favorites.
I know.
From Julian of Norwich, this medieval mystic woman.
I love it.
All shall be well. All manner of things shall be well.
That's true. All shall be well. One way or another, whether it turns out how we want it or not.
Yeah, and what, after all, is there to be afraid of? I mean, yeah, we're all going to die, but nothing we can do about that. We'll just live in the moment and make it the best we can. If that means
Mhm.
singing Beach Boys out back with the neighbors, that is wonderful. Or staring into your own fireplace, or
Yeah,
petting your dog extra, whatever.
we
Make
had all of that. We had a fire pit, we had the dog, we had 2 dogs,
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds
and
great.
I met all these people I never met before. Yeah, and they were so nice, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much fun to experience those types of situations. It's, there's something that's just,
Unexpected kind
Yeah.
of.
Mhm.
yeah.
And it demonstrates that our lives are full of possibilities. I had some very bad Christmases in the past, but
Mhm.
there remains that if I give myself permission to look at possibility rather than the past,
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, been doing a lot of that lately.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, that's the best way to focus, I think, because that's really what we have in front of us. I mean, what we're experiencing right now is really kind of stuff that's behind us.
Yeah.
And what is the possible is like waiting to be discovered, unfolded, or whatever. That's, to me, that keeps life exciting and interesting.
Um, I can say that, we moved here around this time last year, and we didn't know anybody, I mean, our neighbors or anything. And I remember Joe and I went down into town and had dinner for Thanksgiving, and, it was what it was. It was fine. But, from that time on, we've met our neighbors, and, that's the unfolding. And then we were invited to one of our neighbors for Thanksgiving, with some other people. And it was great, and I was excited about going, and the woman that was having it was excited about having us come, and you know and it was great. That was the unfolding. That was the and I wasn't expecting anything. I wasn't worried about it, and that's what happened. And it's going on. I mean, we've been invited to other things during the holidays that are going to be happening, and there's that community, and warmth, and yeah. And so
It's remarkable, Julie, how you guys went there not knowing a soul, and you've developed such good friendships, and I think that is so great that you have a good support
and
system.
still meeting
Walk
new
your dog if you're
people.
not,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And it's so brave of you guys, I think that is just
Yeah.
so brave.
Well, yeah, I've always been a sort of a thrill seeker. Not that this is like a thrill, but or just open to new experiences. I moved to Italy for 5 years, so that and everyone thought I was lying, that I wasn't going to go, and couldn't believe that I lived without a telephone. You know, And it was what it was. I was living without a telephone. I needed to make a call. I went down the street to the end of the block, and I made a phone call. It was like, okay.
I think all of us here have decided that we're going to live spiritual lives, and that demands a lot of courage. Because once you've made that decision, you are going to be different from a lot of people. You're going to have to find a new community, and that's all about being present and open to possibility. And I've gotten way off topic now, but it's just talking about the courage that it takes to go on and see what's possible. Maybe despite the darkness of winter, I'll bring it back around. Where we could all, be dead of the plague before May, but in my medieval Mary.
I love medieval, so I'm loving this. I must have
Speaking of
been
this
a
subject,
life there. Yeah.
yeah. No, speaking of the subject of just finding random synergies and stuff, I was going to share another moment for my Thanksgiving the other day. We were kind of in singing guitar mode, and the guitar was handed to this guy who he wasn't really sure if he could play it or find a song he could play. And so he took the guitar. I was standing right next to him, and he kind of started like noodling a little bit. And to me, it sounded exactly like that song by Bread, I Want to Make It With You.
Oh,
You guys
yeah.
know that song?
Yeah.
And so he was doing that, and I just started singing, hey, have you ever tried really reaching out for the other side? And he was kind of like, he was trying to keep up with me. And so another guy across the way goes, I love that song. I can totally play that song. And so he took the guitar, and then we all sang that song.
That's nice. That's nice.
Great.
Yeah. That's a good share. I mean, the story's a good share, and the
Yeah.
share that happens in that moment, the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know where this was going to go when I proposed the topic the other day, but I'm so happy I did. There's so many good stories.
A lot of
You
it
guys-
is around community, connecting with our deeper self and connecting with others, wanting to have that connection. Helps us feel alive, I think. And while we're here, it's like, why waste the time, Just being that spark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I say something?
Certainly.
Right. Something
Although we're
that
running out of
is
time.
quite amazing for me is the way you people celebrate your special days. You really make a great effort. Now, for me, attending, visiting my children and have already been taken up in the community, it is every time a surprise for me. I think Thanksgiving, or even some of the places, the whole street, they blocked it off and they all get together and they are just participate. Whereas here in South Africa, I have said many times, don't we have a culture? Why is it that we only have about Christmas and just one of the others? All the others is non-committed. Whereas you people are really going out. You make an effort for the decor, you make an effort for the invitation cards and the layouts of a table. I could always just look at it and say, wow, what a difference. You are absolutely taken up in the moment with the spirit, and it is a kind of a renewal for everybody, and touching sides and things like that. It is actually, for me sitting here on the outside, that is very strange for me, all these holidays and how you people are celebrated, because we are not used to it. And it is how everybody is participate and be happy to be a part of it. Something. Bye-bye.
There. Thank you, and we'll be back next week with Joining us.